Hello, it's me JP from Northern Lights over Arkham, and today I'll be playing a deck made by Steve Kaylor, who submitted me this deck to test out, and it's William Yorick, the Gravedigger, and I'll be trying him out in the curtain call scenario from Path to Carcosa, and let's look a bit first about what's in the deck. So there's quite a lot of assets. It's usual in Yorick decks. There's 2 Gravedigger shovels for getting clues easily, and lanterns to drop the shroud in locations where you could grab a clue with William's low knowledge value of 2, which isn't very great. Then there's in the weapons department machete. That's a solid weapon for true solo playing if you're not using the taboo list, and this list isn't. Also there's a rabbit's foot for accessory slot item to help with the failed test to get more card draw into the deck. Bandolier is a good addition to this deck, as you're having your hands full of either lanterns or weapons or stuff like that, so you need an extra slot to have all of those 3 things in play at the same time. The ally slot is occupied by the staple survivor ally Peter Sylvester. He really helps to mitigate the lower sanity value of William. First aid helps to keep you healthy. It can heal you horror or meat damage from William. And in the events there's another staple, look what I found, in survivors. It's especially good with lucky. If you're in a high shroud location and you fail the test, you can use lucky to get to the fail by 2 area to trigger look what I found. Also there's a couple of emergency caches to get you the resources to play all these assets and events, and because there's only 4 weapons in the deck, there's 2 prepared for the worst to help you find those weapons to keep you defended against all of the bad guys. Guts, manual dexterity and perception are all one-offs in this deck, and there's 2 resourcefuls. I usually don't run resourceful in Yorick because he can grab the assets with his own ability, but of course you can also grab look what I found or lucky with the resourceful, so I think it's justified to be in the deck. And as a final card, there is 2 copies of Vicious Blow to help you deal with the enemies that have like 3 health, so you can only use a 1 action with machete, for example, to kill them. And if you're facing a 2 health minion enemy, then Gravedigger Shovel can deal with that in addition with Vicious Blow. Steve had already rolled for the random weakness, basic weakness for the deck, and it was Amnesia, so I will be trying out the deck with that. So let's set up the scenario and get started. So we have the scenario set up, and William starts in the theater. The doom threshold is 6, and we need 3 clues to advance the deck. So let's start by drawing our opening hand. And by the way, I'm using the monster management tokens and exhaust tokens from Elsie Gee Tokens. Basically how this works is when a card exhausts, you put 1 token on it. It's really easier and tidier to just use those tokens then to rotate the cards. Maybe not as fast as rotating the cards, but I like to just put cards on the slots or on the map and not fiddle with them that much. Also, the monster management tokens work like so that you put one token on the location where the enemy is and the other on the enemy card, and if this would be on the same location and engage with an investigator, just move the token in the investigator's threat area. So if you're wondering what these tokens that I'm putting on the cards are, and let's draw our opening hand. We get a Gravedigger Shovel, a Machete, weakness that we put aside, Perception, Peter Silvestri, and Manual Dexterity. So I think I'll ditch the Shovel, Manual Dexterity. Actually, I could keep the Shovel just in case. I'll just draw one card, so I get a lucky. That's okay. If I'm nearly failing an investigate check or something. Shuffle the deck and let's get started. Okay. So first action, I'll play the Machete. Second action, I'll take one resource, so I have 3 left. And third action, I'll play Peter Silvestre. So we get some horror soak on the table right at the start, which is good. And also our agility is now 4, so it helps with evading some of the enemies in this scenario. Okay, so no enemy phase and upkeep. I'll get one resource and I draw one card. It's another Machete, so I have quite good strength symbols in hand for fighting. So let's go to the second round. So we add the Doom to the agenda and draw our first encounter card, which is Fanatic. I'll just think I'll spawn the Fanatic on me, just to get rid of it as soon as possible. And first action, I'll just whack the Machete at it. I think I just commit one Machete to the test, so I'm 6 versus 3. -1. So the Fanatic is dead. And I think I'll go to the backstage. I usually always go first at the backstage, so there's a bigger chance to spawn the man in the pallet mass at the lobby locations. And after I reveal the backstage, there's a forced effect to put 2 of the set aside backstage doorways into play. So shuffle these a bit. And let's put these 2 into play. And third action, oh yeah, there's no clue here. I think I'll try to get this clue of this location. So I commit Perception to the test. I'm 1 up, so -1 or better. It's a skull, so I don't have too much horror yet, so it's -1, so I pass and I get the clue. And that's my turn. No enemy at the enemy phase that would do something, so we go to the upkeep, 1 card and 1 resource. We get Look What I Found, which will be good if there's a high shroud location which we need to investigate. And also I would have drawn 1 card from the Perception, so actually that Look What I Found was from that. and we get another Peter Sylvester. Not that useful right now. Maybe there's a wheel check we need to commit into. Okay, so on to the next round. Okay, so we had another Doom on the agenda and pull another encounter card, which is Spires of Carcosa. That's quite unfortunate. We're not really good at getting rid of that, so there's 2 Doom on this location. I think we just ignore that. Or we could we could use the look what I found for this test. Let's do that. So I try to investigate. So I'm below by 1, -1, so I failed by 2. This gives me the possibility to play Look What I Found. So I discovered 2 clues, but I can, instead of discovering clues, remove 2 Doom from the location. And this goes away. So we buy 2 turns with that investigation, so that's my first action. Second action, I'll move to the backstage doorway, which is the trap room. So there's 1 clue here, and we spawn a swarm of rats. There's 1 swarm of rats. And comes engaged with us. Last action, I'll just hit the rats with the machete. -3, and I'm 5 versus 1, so I hit and kill the rats. And that's my turn. So now nothing happening in the enemy phase again. We get in the upkeep 1 resource and 1 card, and it's buried and deep. That's quite useful. And to the next turn. Three Doom out of 6. Get an encounter card. Twisted to his wheel. There's no Doom in play. There's 3 Doom, so it will test of 3. So I discard 2 cards from my hand at random. I think I will just test it. There's nothing that's really crucial. So maybe the bury them deep, but I'd rather just lock out or discard a couple of cards. So let's test that. So I'm even. -2. So I discard 2 cards from my hand. It will be the Lucky and the Great Wicked Shovel. So Lucky was a bit of an unfortunate discard, but it is what it is. And then we could investigate. So I think I will use this turn to try and find some clue tech from my deck. So first action I draw. Well, it's a Lucky. I think that's enough to get this clue out of here. I'll just investigate. I'm 1 below. It's a -1, so I am 2 below, so I use Lucky to get this clue. So 2 of the 3 clues we need. And last action, I move back to the backstage. That's my turn, and I draw 1 card and get 1 resource. I draw the rabbit's foot. Could play that next turn to get some card draw when I fail the investigation checks later. Let's see what happens next turn. Okay, so 4 doom of 6, and the counter card is Descent into Madness, search. At least 3 hard use 1 action. Well, I don't have 3 horror, so it just gains search. And we draw Peril, Hidden Revelation, secretly add whispers in your head, anxiety to your hand. You cannot trigger fast action abilities. So at the moment I don't have any, so it doesn't really matter to me that much. First action, I'll move to the backstage doorway. Okay, nothing there. So 2 actions, I'll just move to the theater. And that's my turn. I draw 1 card. It is the Graveyard Ghouls, and it spawns engage with me. And I get 1 resource. So that was a fast turn, and let's deal with the ghouls next turn. Okay, so 5 doom of 6, so the agenda will be advancing next turn. Let's see our encounter card, and it's a Fanatics. I think I'll just put the Fanatic back here out of harm's way, because there's no clues anywhere and we don't need to deal with it anymore. Okay, and first action, I'll swing at the ghouls. Yeah. 5 versus 3. -1, so 2 damage. Second action, swing at it again. This time I think I'll use the rabbit's foot to boost that by 1. So I'm 6 versus 3. -2. So the graveyard ghouls are dead. And I could bury them deep to get 1 victory, but actually I will do that because I want to try and get as many victory points in this deck test as possible. So that gets added to the victory display. Just leave it there. And last action, I'll move to the lobby because there's something bad spawning next turn here. Lobby has the forced effect. When lobby enters play, place 2 lobby doorways at random. Okay, shuffling the doorways. Those 2. Okay, and upkeep. Yeah, this Fanatic doesn't do anything in the enemy base, so upkeep I get the resource and draw 1 card. Get the resourceful, it will be quite useful. And then it's time to go to the next turn. So the agenda advances. spawn the royal emissary at the theater. Just mark it with this yellow marker. Okay. Luckily we have Peter around, so the horror that the emissary meets it is not that big of a deal. And we get an encounter card. It whispers in your head, dread. So you cannot move more than once each turn. That's fine also at the moment. So first and last move action of the turn, I'll move to the lobby doorway. It's a lightning box. Just read it quickly. So it increases the resource cost of my cards in hand. It's unfortunate. I'm not sure if I can investigate this without some help. So next action I'll draw a card. And last action I'll play this Gravedigger Shovel. So I can just pick up the clue next turn. The emissary moves in the enemy phase here, and I get one horror. I put it on Peter, and Peter will heal it after my next turn ends. So upkeep, I draw one card. Unexpected Courage is really good, and one resource. And we go to the next turn. So one doom out of 6. We get an encounter card, which is Poltergeist. Oh dear, I really hate these guys with William. There's not that many things I can do about it. So I think I'll have to use Unexpected Courage and Resourceful to evade it. So I'm 7 versus 4, so -3 or better. There should be one blue token here. So hopefully I succeed. -2. It's evaded. Then second action, I'll discard this shovel. I'll get the clue, and immediately when I get the clue, I'll advance the attack. So we get to see where the man in the pallet mats will spawn. So we pick one of these at random. Try not to look. My eyes closed. It's quite weird. Maybe I'll do it behind my back. So unfortunately it's the backstage. So we need to go back there. And the man in the pallet mask spawns there. And next up, still have one action remaining. We really need to leave this location before that poltergeist. Oh yeah, I forgot to. I should have paid 2 more in the lightning box for the shovel. Forgot about that, so I paid now. So I'll just move here against the emissary, well, it's massive, so it's engaged with everything. Oh yeah, and I passed the test, so resourceful triggers, and I get one survival card to my hand, and I think I'll grab a lucky. So, that's my turn. Enemy turn, Royal Emissary hits me, I take 2 damage, then it deals 1 horror. Oh yeah, Peter would have healed at my end of my turn, so Peter takes the new horror also. Oh yeah, and we need to randomly pick one of these 2 cards to see which at 2 we get. So just pick this one. These go out of play. And upkeep, yeah, this poltergeist ready is there. Get 1 resource and 1 card. Look what I found. And then it's time to go to the next turn. We add 1 room. Get an encounter card, which is Rotting Remains. I'll just test wheel 3. I commit Peter to the test. So I'm 1 up, so minus 1 or better. -1. Don't take any horror. Then we need to kill the Royal Emissary, so I just, as my first action, hit it. Tentacle does retaliate, which is a shame. Try again. Skull, so I hit it. Takes 2 damage. So I need to hit it again. And for this, I don't have anything to commit, so hoping that I only fail by 2. So 1 up, so -1 or better. -1. So succeed in killing the Royal Emissary, so it goes to the victory display. And we reverse to Act 1 and play 3 Doom on it. So like so. So that's my turn. Enemy phase, nothing happens. And I'll keep 1 card, which is a Rabbit's Foot, and 1. Okay, so the next turn we need to get to the last back room and deal with the man in the pallet mask as soon as possible. I think I'll just try to get out after that. So add 1 Doom, so 4 of 6, and then just I get an encounter card. Oh damn it! It's the Agent of the King, so we need to deal with that first. It's engaged with me actually. Okay. Yeah. First action, I'll just hit the agent. So I commit the Rabbit's Foot. So I'm 6 versus 4. So -2 or better. Get a skull. So -1. 2 damage to the agent. And second action, I'll swing again. -1. dead. Goes to the victory display. And last action, I'll just move to the theater. Okay, so nothing going on in the enemy phase, so I'll keep Kirby's amnesia. I'll keep the lucky. And because these are hidden, they don't get discarded. And actually, next turn I think I need to get rid of the one that limits my moves to one at that turn. Okay, so next turn. Room 5 of 6. Encounter card is rats. God damn it. Oh well. Just kill the rats. Once one. Rats are dead. Second action. Move. Third action. No, I don't move. I'll just remove this. This burst in your head. Dread, so I don't have the move restriction anymore. So that's my turn. Nothing in the enemy phase, so one resource and one card. It's prepared for the worst. That's helpful for the next turn, because we have to kill the royal emissary again. Okay, so to the next turn. So the agenda actually advanced. We have actually the wrong card here. Oops. So the third act should be there. So we spawn the royal emissary again, and it spawns to the theater. So it's engaged with. It's massive, so it comes here. So we need to kill it again. First action. Just hit it. I'll commit this prepared for the worst test. So I'm -2 or better. I hit it. 2 damage. Second action. Hit it again. -4, it retaliates. This isn't going that well. So I have 6 damage already. Just change it to these 3 damage tokens. Last action, I'll try to hit it again. Actually, yeah, the lucky wouldn't have helped there. We might die here if I pull something bad. Hopefully not. Yeah, we're dead. Actually not. Oh yeah, we're dead in the enemy phase. So I could take 1 to Peter, 1 to myself, and in the enemy phase the emissary just kills us. Well, that was unfortunate, but what can you do? If you pull the tentacle, that's the tentacle. So let's see my final thoughts on this deck. Okay, so what did I think of this deck? Well, the deck uses a lot of the cards from the core set, some cards from the Dunwich, and some cards from the Carcosa. There isn't any newer cycle deck cards in this deck, but of course if It's supposed to be from a player who doesn't have the whole collection so far, and it's made for Carcosa cycle. It's a decent deck. For true solo I would have put some flashlight or something similar to the deck to help to lower the shroud. I'm not that keen on the lanterns. They're okay, but the -1 shroud and the possibility to deal damage is okay in Yorick, but for one I would use maybe knives or something like that instead. Just throw the knives again and again. The horror wasn't a problem. Peter is a really good card for William to keep the horror level down, so you're not low on sanity at any point. We just basically died for the meat damage from the emissary because we had an unlucky pulse 1 -4 where we could have succeeded with -3 or better with the help of lucky. And then of course the killing blow came from a autofail pull, which is also always through Arkham. Just can't do anything about it. We could have evaded, but again it's 2 up, and that was the last action, so we needed to attack again next turn, and we were quite literally running out of time. This is a race scenario. You just have to be quick, move quickly and deal with the threats. We got a real large amount of enemies in this run. We got like our weakness enemy, the agent, 2 fanatics, rats twice, so a lot of, and poltergeist, so a lot of enemies to deal with. Of course William can kill them except for the poltergeist, but luckily we could evade that. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad deck. It's just that this is a really tough first scenario of the campaign, so it's really hard for solo players. If you get bogged down with enemies, you're just running out of time all the time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, you can submit me deck ideas, deck lists to my email. It's northernlightsoverarkham@gmail.com, and don't forget to follow me also on Instagram. It's northernlightsoverarkham _ between every word, and I'll usually put updates there from my campaign plays. I'm not at the moment going to do campaign plays while doing these videos. It's a bit too much work at the moment to do this, but these are really fun to do, so I'm enjoying them and hoping to do a lot of them from now on. So thanks for watching, and we see you next time.